What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today, we're going to be ranking the top 10 small forwards in the NBA. So if you do enjoy this, please do me a huge favor. Smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below who you agree with, who you disagree with. You guys have been loving these videos so far with the point guards and shooting guards. We've been having conversations in the comments, so it's been great. So yeah, let's keep that rolling. So without further ado, let's get right on into it. So the way this works is the same thing as the point guards and the shooting guards. We're just going to go from 10 to 1. So with number 10, we do have, now a lot of this is based off depth chart. Some players I did include here as they are listed as a power forward, but they're genuinely play small forward primarily. So like for instance, OG Anunoby is number 10. The Knicks threw him in a lot of different systems where he was with Brunson, DiVincenzo, him, as well as, just so he kind of played the 4-3, sometimes even the 2 area if they went really big. But OG is someone who he averaged 15, 6, and 1 last season. Although he did switch teams midway through the season, going from the Raptors to the Knicks, he was really made an impact right off the bat. He fits really well in the Tom Thibodeau system of a kind of guy that's not going to miss a lot of games. He does have the kind of skill set that you're looking for in the perfect player alongside superstars, because he can go out, defend the best player on the court, as well as provide something offensively. He is a great guy. So although he doesn't fill up the stat sheet necessarily, some of these other players fill it up more than him. He deserves to make this list for his defensive impact. Next up at number 9, I do have DeMar DeRozan. Now this one is although the Bulls last season, they weren't along par with a lot of these other teams that I'm about to mention, but DeMar DeRozan is a heavy competitor, and he's not willing to just give up easily. He played in 79 games for a team that sucked. Let's be honest, that's a phenomenal thing at his age. He averaged 24, 5, and 4, tried to win games, but he can't do it all on his own. Yes, defensively he lacks a little bit, so that's why he fell on this list. But offensively, he's got it. He's in a new system now with the Sacramento Kings. Hopefully they can, of course I've got my concerns with how the future is going to look with the spacing and everything. But as of right now, it's obviously a better situation than being in Chicago. At number 8, I do have Brandon Ingram. This one might shock some people. They might have had DeMar or OG above him. But I think his play style on the offensive end, 25 and 5, putting up on the stat sheet, he's the kind of guy that is getting not lost necessarily, but just not fitting into the current program that he's at. He's, with the Pelicans, that he just doesn't necessarily fit with CJ, now DeJounte, Zion, especially when they have Herb Jones and Trey Murphy coming off the bench. He's the kind of guy that could go to like a Miami, for example, and be a solid scoring option for them. So Brandon Ingram, a guy who doesn't fit with his current situation, like I was saying, they haven't been able to put the proper pieces around him, so that's why they should look to move off of him. I know there's been rumors that they might just keep him and rework a contract, but I don't like that at all. He wants to go to a winning situation, so I hope that he kind of just forces his way out and requests a trade. Now at number 7, I do have a guy that didn't play on a great team necessarily, but it is Mikal Bridges. He did play for the Nets. Now he's on the Knicks. But Mikal Bridges is a Swiss Army knife. The kind of guy that's willing to do it all. The kind of guy that he will defend for you. He'll shoot for you. When we saw him on Phoenix and they were making that championship run, he did anything he needed. So he fits in more of a Scottie Pippen role. The kind of guy that he's not going to be the number 1 guy on a team, but he will be the kind of player to just similar to Jaylen Brown, where he can step up in those lights and the moments when he's needed, but not a necessity for sure. Not going to be your best player on your roster in a winning situation. Next up at number 6, I do have Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, although it was kind of a disappointing season, of course, for the Miami Heat, Jimmy, of course, is Jimmy Butler. In the playoffs, he's going to put out and everything like that. He's going to put up great numbers. I would, of course, like to see him do more in the regular season. He kind of takes time off in the regular season, and although he plays in some games, he still is almost just as if he didn't play because he has quiet games. He averaged 25-5, which is a bit low for a guy like him. But what I will say is Jimmy Butler is just in such an interesting situation just because of the constant dealing with injuries around him as well as him missing games. They're kind of just a missing piece or two away from being back to contention. You can definitely see that the squad needs something else. As far as a team that needs something else, we have moved on to number 5, that being Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi is the kind of player that doesn't care about the regular season either. He's going to play in the playoffs, but he has a lot of injury history. He averaged 23, 6, and 3, and it was, of course, an underperforming season for the Clippers. They went from being a championship contending team to bounce in the first round, winning 2 out of the 4 games. 2 out of the 6 games, sorry, I should say. The Mavericks, who went on to go compete in the NBA Finals, they won 4 of the 6. Now, what I will say is, going along with one video I put out yesterday about the less is more theory, Kawhi could be that kind of player. I talked about that with Trae Young, how Trae might not need a guy like DeJounte Murray in order to be successful, as he proved it before. Kawhi might have been the same thing, where we saw in when he was in Toronto, he didn't have Paul George caliber players around him. He had role players around him. Fred VanVleet, he had OG, he had Pascal Siakam, which I guess Pascal would be that kind of caliber player of Paul George, but it wasn't the same, in my opinion. Kawhi had less than what the Clippers have. And now, of course, this next season gives us an opportunity to really evaluate whether Kawhi is in that less is more theory, because he doesn't have Paul George anymore. He's got James Harden, and he's got a bunch of role players around him. So let's see what Kawhi can really do with him. But, of course, I still think that he is the 5th best small forward in the league. At number 4 here, we have his teammate, Paul George, who now, of course, is a 76er. Again, interesting situation because the Clippers just really seemed like they didn't want him. He was a perfect player for them. They offered him a very disrespectful contract. So he went on and took his talents over to Philly. He was a part of that underperforming in the playoffs for the Clippers themselves. But I think that he's going to shine a lot in the role that he'll have with Philly. When Joel Embiid's injured, he can shine because he's still got Maxey there too. I think the fits a lot better. For some reason, the fit just didn't work with Kawhi. Now, theoretically, you would think, yes, it should work. Paul George spaces the floor really nice. Kawhi attacks the basket quite a lot, can shoot the mid-range. Both of them are good playmakers, but it just didn't work. So I think Paul George being with Philly is going to blossom his game a little bit, similar to how he was in OKC, where he had Carmelo and had Russell Westbrook, 2 guys who fit his game quite nicely, and they were able to succeed. And he even finished top 3 in MVP voting that season when he played for the Thunder. At number 3, I've got LeBron. LeBron, of course, we all know what he can do. Now, he's had to transition his game quite a lot because the Lakers have been struggling to find playmakers. Guys who don't need somebody to go get a shot for them, but can create shots for others. Now, LeBron is fantastic at that, of course. So he's had to do the entire point guard role because they don't have someone to do so. Austin Reeves they've been trying it with. It just hasn't been working really. Of course, AD is not a ball handler playmaker, but LeBron is. So we haven't, of course, we've seen a decline in his game. It hasn't been an insane decline, but yes, although he puts up 25, 8, and 7, nearly a triple-double, the explosiveness is not there as much as it used to be. He is exhausting himself on the offensive end because he has to go playmake for everyone to even go get shots. And they don't have the three-point shooting around them. They're kind of lost when it comes to D'Angelo Russell, but I still do believe because of his skill set, he is the 3rd best small forward on this list here. At number 2, I have Jaylen Brown. Now, you're going to say, oh, okay, well, what about Tatum? Tatum, I put him as a power forward because he was listed on the depth chart as a power forward. And, of course, my number 1 is listed as a power forward, but I put him as a small forward in this scenario, which I'll discuss in a second. But Jaylen Brown is Finals MVP. He deserves to be high on this list. 23, 5, and 3 is what he averaged this last season. But it's not all about what he does on the offensive end. It's about what he does on the defensive end, and the fact he went into that final series and said, hey, I'll take Luka. And yes, you can't contain Luka. No one can contain Luka and shut him down completely where he's going to have 3 points the entire game. But in those important moments, those clutch situations, those moments that really change the game, i.e. when they're down by 8 and Luka has an opportunity to hit a crazy solid 3, but Jaylen Brown's hand is right in his face messing with the shot, that's exactly what you're looking for. That turns the game around into the Celtics' favor, that gets them a run. It was plays like that was why the Celtics won this championship. And it was all anchored by playmakers or play styles of guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and so on. But Jaylen Brown, of course, won Finals MVP. He did so on the defensive end. Now, he's always going to be a bit in the shine of, or a bit in the shadow of Jason Tatum, similar to Jordan and Pippen. Now, I'm not saying Jason Tatum is the level of Jordan, but their situations are very similar. Where Scottie Pippen may have had better specific games, Jordan was the better player overall. It wasn't by much, but it looks like it was a lot because of the back seat that Scottie Pippen took, or Jaylen Brown is taking, to Jason Tatum. I know that's a lot, and I think if Jaylen Brown goes off on his own team, he explodes and becomes one of the top players in the league. I think the same thing if Scottie Pippen would have done that. A lot of people are going to disagree with that. But I think genuinely, if the roles were reversed, and let's say Jaylen Brown went to his own squad and was just the number one option constantly, he would be a fantastic player in this league. I know a lot of people are going to say the whole left-hand thing. Well, that didn't affect him in the finals because he still put up 23, 5, and 3 and still dominated in the finals. And defensively, he's an animal. Jason Tatum is a fantastic player, don't get me wrong. One of my favorite players in the league, of course. He definitely is getting lost a little bit in the light, and a lot of people are kind of memeing him for the whole imitating what he has been doing, i.e. the shouting, we did it, and the Kobe mocks, not mocks, but the Kobe mimics and stuff like that, wearing Kobe's number and all that. I know he's been getting memed. He's still a fantastic player in this league. Still one of my favorites. Jaylen Brown, though, does not get enough credit. He didn't make Team USA. Right? Now, there's been some rumors possibly about conspiracy theory about Steve Kerr trying to get in Tatum's head and all, but I don't want to hear that. That's hearsay. But let's get on to number one. The number one small forward, and he is a guy that's listed at power forward, is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant showed, although they were a 6 seed and didn't handle business in the playoffs, he averaged 27, 6, and 5 with a kind of, you can say, a disruption in the roster by not having a point guard in Phoenix. He was able to still find a shot, one of the greatest scorers. No one can defend him. And he went toe-to-toe with Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards just had the better of him. They had the better roster. They made Phoenix not look that great. But Kevin Durant still did his thing. So overall, and you can see with the way he's playing in Team USA, he's still got it. He's still one of those top dudes. So, alright guys, if you did enjoy this video, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below whether you agree or disagree with what you would change, everything like that. Let's have a debate in the comments. I love it. I'm here for it. So guys, with that being said, it's been another Heart Over Height episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.